Am I recording? Hello again, it's me Chaz back with another video. This one's the AFC Round 3, Match Day 5. So now we are halfway through the third round of the AFC's World Cup qualifiers. And we had a lot of late drama, most of it coming from Group C, where the second place and third place team, Australia and Saudi Arabia, drew 0-0, but right at the end, Saudi Arabia had a goal ruled out by VAR for offside. A win for Saudi Arabia in that game would have took them into second place, which is a World Cup qualifiers spot. Also in Group C, China were able to beat Bahrain late into extra time and have taken them from bottom of the table into fourth, which would get them into a fourth round place and still give them another chance to qualify for the World Cup. But not just that, they are now level on points with both Australia and Saudi Arabia, who are second and third. Group C wasn't the only group to have late drama. In Group A, the game between Qatar and Uzbekistan, Qatar were leading 2-0. Uzbekistan turned that around late into the second half. But again, a lot of extra time was given in a game between these two. And Qatar was able to get a goal and finish the game 3-2. Handing Uzbekistan their first defeat at the World Cup qualifiers. I will discuss these 3 games and the other 6 matches that took place on match day 5 of the AFC third round World Cup qualifiers. So I'm going to start, as I usually start, with the first group, and that is Group A. As you can see, this is the current table. Iran still top with 13 points. Uzbekistan second. Still second after their loss to Qatar. UAE and Qatar are third and fourth. And Kyrgyzstan and North Korea are the bottom 2 teams. First 2 teams will qualify for the World Cup. Third and fourth will have another chance and move into the fourth round. And the bottom 2 teams, 5th and 6th, will be eliminated from the World Cup qualifiers. The first game we're going to start with is the match between North Korea and Iran. At the beginning of match day 5, this was the top team versus the bottom team, Iran being first and North Korea being 6th. The game took place in Laos for security reasons. North Korea's games have all been played in Laos, both in the second round and in this round. Iran did defeat North Korea 3-2, and in the first half they were leading 3-0. A goal from Gaedi in the 29th minute, and then Mohibi scored in the 41st and 45th minute. Mohibi has now scored 5 goals in qualifiers. All 3 goals were assisted by Taimi, and the match looked like it was over in the first half. But in the second half, Khalizadeh for Iran was given a red card, denying Ri Jong-guk a goal-scoring opportunity. So he got sent off in the 51st minute. Unnecessary sending off for him. Shouldn't have made the challenge. And could have cost Iran. North Korea was able to get 1 goal back. An own goal by Taremi. It deflected from his foot, a cross came in. That was in the 56th minute. And then 3 minutes later, Kim Yong-song managed to make it 3-2. So Korea was able to get 2 goals back. 8 minutes later, Taremi again stepped up to take a penalty, and unfortunately for Iran, he missed. If he scored that, game probably would have been settled there. And he was all over the game. 3 assists, an own goal, a missed penalty. But lucky for him and Iran, Korea couldn't score any more goals. Iran are now 3 points ahead of Uzbekistan and 6 points ahead of both Qatar and UAE, who are in the 4th round spots. Iran are one of only 3 other nations in the AFC who have not lost a game during the qualifiers. The other 2, and not surprisingly, who were top seeds like Iran, both South Korea and Japan are the other 2 nations who haven't lost yet. For North Korea, they haven't won a game since the 2nd round. And it doesn't get easier. North Korea's next game will be against Uzbekistan. And Uzbekistan looking to try and bounce back from their defeat against Qatar. I'll talk about that next. Iran will visit Kyrgyzstan next. Kyrgyzstan is currently in 5th place. Alright, now let's talk about the game between Qatar and Uzbekistan. The match which finished 3-2 to Qatar. Alright, so in the first half, a key player for Uzbekistan, Shomurodov, was injured and he had to be taken off. Marshiprov came on for him. This was in the 21st minute. Alright, so 5 minutes later, Qatar took the lead thanks to Almorez Ali, and he scored again in the 41st minute. Both times, Afif was the player to assist him. That has been a great combo for Qatar. For Almorez Ali, this was his 12th goal in qualifiers, making him the top scorer in the AFC qualifiers. Late on in the 75th and 80th minute, Vaizulalev was able to score 2 goals for Uzbekistan, making it 2-2. Ali Jonov in the 75th minute was the player who assisted him, and Marshiprov was the player that assisted him for the equaliser. Unfortunately, late on, Mendez in the 102nd minute, so 12 minutes into extra time, was able to make it 3-2 for Qatar. Originally, it was only 6 minutes of extra time given. I believe Uzbekistan had the longest unbeaten run from any team in the world. And it's a very disappointing, messed up way for them to lose the run. This is a good win, obviously, for Qatar, though, keeping them close to 2nd place, which is the qualifying spot, which Uzbekistan currently are in. Uzbekistan still are 2nd, and Qatar still are 4th, though. Uzbekistan can bounce back against North Korea next, while Qatar go up against UAE, who are 3rd. So that's 3rd versus 4th. Big game between Qatar and UAE. A win between any of those 2 nations will definitely put the pressure on 1st and 2nd. Alright, and speaking of UAE were able to defeat Kyrgyzstan 3-0. Thanks to 2 goals from Abdullah in the 15th minute first. Meloni scored in the 35th minute for United Arab Emirates. And Abdullah scored his 5th goal in qualifiers, making it 3-0 for UAE. Still puts them in 3rd, now 3 points behind Uzbekistan. UAE will go up against Qatar next, so very important game, as I mentioned. On the other hand, Kyrgyzstan will take on Iran, who are currently top of the table. Kyrgyzstan still remains 5th, so out of qualifying or even having a chance to qualify. They've only won one game away, defeating Taiwan in the second round. So it's looking tough for them. All right, have another look at the Group A table. Iran now 3 points above Uzbekistan in first. Uzbekistan second. UAE and Qatar level on points, both third and fourth. And finally, the bottom two teams, Kyrgyzstan and North Korea. All right, let's move on to Group B. So let's check the Group B table. As you can see, South Korea now creating more distance between them and second and third, Jordan and Iraq. 5 points clear now. But Oman have put themselves in a great position, now only 2 points behind Jordan and Iraq. And they're closing in on second place. And finally, Kuwait and Palestine are bottom, 5th and 6th. All right, we're going to start with the group leaders, and that's South Korea. They took on Kuwait away, and they defeated Kuwait 3-1. South Korea, 10 minutes in. OC Han scored, and then 9 minutes later, Sun got a penalty for South Korea, making it 2-0. That is now Sun's 9th goal in qualifiers. Kuwait got 1 goal back, Majid with a great assist, and Darham was able to score. Brilliant control, great strike. But Bae Jong-ho in the 74th minute made it 3-1. Hang In-beom assisted that goal. That's 2 assists in this game. He assisted the first goal. And that is now South Korea's 4th win in a row. And as mentioned before, they are one of only 2 other nations, that being Iran and Japan, who haven't lost a game in qualifiers. Outside of the game against Palestine, where they drew 0-0, they haven't dropped a point in this round. Kuwait, on the other hand, haven't won a game since beating Afghanistan in the second round, which was a must-win game for them to get them into the third round. Kuwait are still 5th in the table, while South Korea, as mentioned, are 1st. South Korea will take on Palestine next, while Kuwait will take on 2nd in the table, Jordan. All right, I mentioned Palestine earlier. They were defeated by Oman 1-0 late on Oman at home. Al Ghassani scored in the 83rd minute, which is his 3rd goal in qualifiers, making it 1-0, and Oman in 4th. 2 points from 2nd place, Jordan. This was a massive win for Oman. Gets them closer to qualifying for their very first World Cup. On the other hand, this is another poor result for Palestine. The last time they won a game was in the second round, where they defeated Bangladesh late on in round 2. Palestine are still 6th and will go up against South Korea, where they did manage to get a draw the last time they played each other. Oman will take on Iraq, who are 3rd. Big game for Oman. Win that game gives them a real fighting chance to qualify for the World Cup proper. And speaking about Iraq and Jordan played each other. That was 2nd versus 3rd. The game ended up in a 0-0 draw, which didn't benefit either team, of course. So they still stayed in the same positions, and they both actually invited Oman in to taking that second spot from them. All right, Oman will take on Iraq, as I mentioned earlier, while Kuwait goes up against Jordan next. Have another look in Group B's table. South Korea, 5 points clear of second and third. Second and third, Jordan and Iraq. Oman in fourth. Kuwait fifth, and Palestine sixth in the table. All right, that was Group B. Now we move on to the last group, Group C. Again, just check Group C. As you can see, Japan top and really are pulling away from the rest of Group C. They are now 7 points clear of Australia, who are second. Saudi Arabia and China third and fourth, who also have the same amount of points as Australia. Bahrain dropped out of the fourth round spots, are now in fifth, and Indonesia have dropped to bottom in sixth. All right, we're going to start with the game between Australia and Saudi Arabia, which ended up in a 0-0 draw. The game was quite even between both teams, but I mentioned late drama. Saudi Arabia had a goal that was ruled out for offside by VAR. I wouldn't have given that. Looked like a perfectly fine goal to me. The 0-0 again wasn't a great result for either team, and they've actually brought China back into it now because of that draw. And now China are level on points with them. Still, Australia are second, and by goal difference will be the team to qualify with Japan if this was match day 10, the end of match day 10. Australia will take on Bahrain, and after their shock defeat at home to Bahrain, they're looking to take some revenge there. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, who drew 1-1 with Indonesia the last time they played, would try to see if they could get 3 points from them this time around. Speaking as China, as I mentioned, they were able to beat Bahrain 1-0 late on. Zhang Yu-Ying scored 90th first minute. That's his third goal in qualifying, and such an important goal for China. Finally, at the end, red card for Bahrain. Al Hayim tackled, was the last man, and straight red. Ridiculous challenge to make, especially right at the end. It was the 99th minute. Game was pretty much done. And now he's out of Bahrain's next game, which will be up against Australia. This win for China moved them from 6th into 4th, which is a 4th round spot, which would give them another chance to qualify. But at the same time, they are now level points with Australia, who are second, which would be a qualifying spot. Now, China will go up against Japan, who earlier, back in September, did defeat them 7-0. Heavy defeat. China go in that game looking to try and, well, do better than that result. You know, I'll see if they could get even a point against Japan. That would be a big gain for them. For Bahrain going up against Australia, who they did defeat previously, but that win against Australia was the first and only win they've had so far during the round 3 qualifiers. All right, let's go on to Japan, the group leaders. They took on Indonesia away, and Japan won that match 4-0. First goal was ruled as an own goal. Hubner, so they made it 1-0 for Japan. Matoma assisted the second goal for Minamoma, making it 2-0. Third goal, goalkeeper for Indonesia, Martin Paez, pretty much passed the ball straight to Morita, who made it 3-0. And Sugawara came off the bench and made it 4-0 for Japan. Back to winning ways for Japan after their draw with Australia. And now they are pretty much clear of the rest of Group C. Now let's have another look on Group C's table. And as you all can see, Japan looking like they will qualify for the next World Cup. And now we really have a tight battle, even including Indonesia. So Australia second with 6 points, level on points with both Saudi Arabia, who are third, and China, who are fourth. But Bahrain are only a point behind them with 5, who are currently fifth. And Indonesia, despite their loss again, they still have 3 points and still are 3 points from second place with still another 5 games to be played. Right, gonna have another look at all the fixtures. These games will be played on Tuesday. I'm hoping to upload this by Monday. So if you're watching this, just be tomorrow or today, depends. All right. So again, these are the fixtures. Okay. All right then, I am done. Thanks for watching, listening. I appreciate it. And this was my AFC Match Day 5 Round 3 review. Thanks again, and bye.